Hello and welcome to Manic Movies, a series where we talk about the madness of movies. I'm Ryanimaniac, and today we're going to be taking a look at the newly released Spider-Man Far From Home. As I usually do with every new movie coming out, I want to strongly address the fact that this review is going to have spoilers for the film, so if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend going to see it before watching this review. Otherwise, there's some big spoilers you're going to get from this film. So the film starts with Peter and his classmates, getting back into the feel of high school because him and a good chunk of it, all his other classmates were snapped out of existence by Thanos. So it's Peter and his friends trying to sort of get back into it, get back to used to being gone for 5 years, and so him and all his classmates take a tour around the world. And Peter decides, well, I've been doing the superhero thing for a while, I just want to do this and enjoy my time, and also try to get close with MJ, the character of Zendaya, who is now a romantic interest for Peter, despite not really being set up as one in the last film. But all that changes when Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. end up hijacking his summer vacation. See, S.H.I.E.L.D. have discovered there's these creatures known as elementals who are made of the natural elements of Earth, fire, wind, water, and earth, and that sort of thing, and have come to destroy this world. They've somehow come from another dimension that was a rift torn open when Thanos snapped everyone out of existence. And it brought the elementals along with a lone hero known as Quentin Beck, or as Peter and his classmates call him, Mysterio. And it's up to Peter to join with Mysterio to stop the elementals who are going to destroy the world. And all the way as Peter tries to win over MJ and avoid getting suspicion from his fellow classmates. But I like the fact that this one goes back to the regular Spider-Man, whereas the last film was kind of a smaller film, which was kind of needed after so many big, epic Spider-Man stories. Homecoming was a bit smaller of a story, just, friendly neighborhood sort of thing, and now this one's back to big, grand, epic. Overall, I think the film was pretty good. I like it more than Homecoming, but it has some very significant flaws, in my opinion. I can start off with the basics and saying that Tom Holland is back again as Spidey, doing a pretty good job, giving that sort of weird, awkward, teenager just trying to fit in with his high scores and not trying to make things awkward. Just trying to be as cool and popular as he can, while also at the same time having the realities of, oh wait, I'm a superhero, I have to save the world. And this one has kind of got more weight to it, because just like, this is following just shortly after the events of Endgame, so it's kind of understandable that Peter would just be like, okay, I just want to take a break from the superhero thing for a while. Even though, in reality, if you're a superhero, there's not really much of a break. So, there is an interesting dilemma. He's just like, I just want to enjoy my trip. I've had enough of the superhero for a little while. I just want to enjoy my trip and hang out with my friends and get up with MJ. So, it's an understandable conflict. While at the same time, S.H.I.E.L.D's like, look, you're about the only hero we have that we can work with, so we need you to come help us. So that is an interesting dynamic. He's just like, I just want to hang out with my friends, even though he's desperately needed at the moment. I like how this film also does flesh out MJ a little bit more. In the first film, she was mostly just there for comic relief, just, making snarky one-liners. In this film, she's a lot more her own character. You get to delve a bit more into her personality and why she's acting so weird and quirky. Like, she's not good with interacting with other people, and so, she just makes snarky comments so that, I don't know, maybe people will like her in some way. So, I like that she gets to be more of her own character. I'm sort of half and half on the whole fact that she's basically a replacement for Mary Jane in the film, that she's MJ only in name, and otherwise is a completely different character to Mary Jane Watson. But at the same time, when there's the 3 Raimi films that had her as a big focus, and just about every Spider-Man medium up until this point having her as focus, I do kind of understand where they're coming from. They just want to try something a little different. We also do get a lot less of Ned than we did in the first film. For the most part, he's just there kind of as, the goofy sidekick character. But he's not even really helping Peter out as much as he did in the first film, which, I don't know, it's... At the same time, it's helping not take focus away from Peter, because this is very much Peter's film. I also like the fact that the film does mostly focus on Peter, whereas the first film kind of jumped around between its villain, the Vulture, and Peter, and him, being sort of an underling to Iron Man. This one very much does focus a lot more on Peter, and basically how he's dealing with the fact that Tony Stark died by saving the universe, by snapping his fingers to pretty much save the universe from Thanos. So, and I also like the fact that you can just kind of feel Tony's presence being gone throughout the whole film, and just everywhere Peter looks, there's just murals and memorials and everybody talking about Tony Stark, so he can't really just move on from it, and he just constantly feels like he's got this huge responsibility on his shoulders. So that, in that sense, I feel like Peter's a lot closer to the more Spider-Man that most of us come to know. And like, this film does something interesting in that it kind of takes the whole Uncle Ben aspect that has been present in all the other Spider-Man movies and sort of applies it to Tony, which is a new twist on it I kind of like, but at the same time, I'm still kind of upset they have really not even addressed Uncle Ben. Aside from a line in which, in Homecoming, which Peter says, "I can't let Aunt May know I'm Spider-Man, I can't put her through that, and after all she's been through," and the fact that his suitcase in this film says BFP, which most likely stands for Benjamin Franklin Parker. But aside from that, the films have not really addressed Uncle Ben in any fashion, and it's just really strange to me. But at the same time, it's cool that they are, still applying the whole Uncle Ben mentality just with Tony Stark this time. So it is very different from the traditional Spider-Man, but at the same time, we're getting to that point where he's acting and being more like Spider-Man, of having this responsibility and, having to choose between his two lives. And so now let's address the big character of the film being Mysterio, who all the advertising was marketing him to be this hero from another dimension, and that they were finally introducing the multiverse. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, we're finally going to get Miles Morales and all that. And meanwhile, I'm just sitting here the entire time just going, the multiverse would be cool, but guys, it's Mysterio. His whole deal is kind of betraying people's trust and making up stories. That's kind of his whole deal. So, needless to say, I wasn't surprised when it was revealed that the whole big story about the elementals and him being from another world was entirely fake, and that it was just the holographic technology that was shown in the beginning of Captain America Civil War, aka the BARF simulation, was actually Quentin Beck's invention, and that Tony pretty much disbanded it and disgraced him, and so it's him and a bunch of other former associates of Tony's who have banded together and just like, we're gonna join together, use that technology so that we can become a big hero known as Mysterio. And just, I don't know exactly how they would have introduced Mysterio into a film properly, but this really did not feel like it, because the whole time I'm just sitting there just going, okay, when's he going to reveal it? When's there going to be the big twist? And I mean, again, I was remaining optimistic and maybe saying, maybe they actually are entering the multiverse, but at the same time I'm sitting there going, this is Mysterio, this can't be real, he's got to be up to something. And sure enough, it's revealed after the defeat of the final elemental that he's just been playing everybody. He's just trying to be this big new hero, trying to fill in the gap where Tony was, and it just felt so painful when that reveal scene was going on, because I'm just like, I knew it, and it's just keep going on and on. I'm just like, why are we still focusing on this? Why is everybody just so shocked by this when it's Mysterio? And that's just like the biggest flaw in the movie to me, is that the fact that they're supposedly introducing the multiverse with Mysterio. Had it been any other character, I would have been willing to admit, oh, maybe this is legit. But the second it was Mysterio that's supposedly the one introducing the multiverse, like even from the first trailer when he showed up, I'm just sitting there just going, he's probably making all these monsters show up with effects, and sure enough, he is. And it's just, it's like the biggest flaw in the movie to me, is just how blatantly obvious it is that Mysterio is going to betray Peter, because any Spider-Man fan who knows about Mysterio knows he's a bad guy, and that his whole deal is making up stuff. But I mean, aside from that, Mysterio is an awesome addition to the film. We get this great scene in which, after Peter has discovered the truth about Mysterio and is trying to stop him, he ends up in this like abandoned warehouse that looks like a regular working office building, and you know, Mysterio is using his constant special effects to just throw him off. You know, making himself large, putting him in a snow globe, bringing back zombie Tony Stark. All of these really crazy and bizarre things that I was super looking forward to whenever Mysterio was in a film, because Mysterio is a character I wanted to see on screen, specifically because of the whole super special effects thing he is all about. I mean, it's a little bit in question how he managed to do all that with how they explain his all special effects in this film, but, you know, whatever. It looks amazing. And unfortunately, there is no Stan Lee cameo in the film, because his final cameo was in Avengers Endgame, and I honestly didn't even notice he didn't have a cameo until my friend pointed it out to me after the film, and it made me very sad. But yeah, overall the film, I feel like, was a step up from Homecoming, aside from the glaring Mysterio issue. And I'm honestly looking forward to seeing where Spidey's exploits lead him to this point. Now let's talk about the big ending, in which Peter has defeated Mysterio, has returned home, is back to being your friend neighborhood Spider-Man, he's hooked up with MJ, everything seems to be going right, until a video from Mr. Quentin Beck is released to the public via the Daily Bugle, with an awesome cameo from freaking J.K. Simmons back as J. Jonah Jameson. That's freaking awesome. I mean, he doesn't have the flat top, but still, it's J.K. Simmons, the best JJ, or the only person who could properly portray J. Jonah Jameson, is back as J. Jonah Jameson. That's awesome. But that's kind of nullified by what happens in the fact that Mysterio has now ended up doctoring the footage of the end battle to make it look like that Peter was using the Edith technology to kill civilians, and that supposedly has framed Spider-Man for killing Mysterio, who's the lone survivor and hero, the greatest hero ever, and that Spider-Man killed him and tried to kill many civilians. But then, the big reveal that Quentin Beck reveals Spider-Man's identity as Peter Parker. And then the film just ends. And I'm sitting there in the theater going, no, you come back here, movie. You explain that, because this is big territory you're going into. You can't just end the film with Peter's identity just being revealed. That's going to cause so much anxiety for not only me, but millions of other Spider-Man and Marvel fans around the world until the next film that Spider-Man's in. Whichever that might be. It might be his sequel. It might be an Avengers movie. I don't know. But you need to come back here and fix this movie right now. Get back over here. Fix it. You need to come explain this, because I am not ready to have this anxiety. I was ready to be done with Marvel anxiety after Endgame, but you had to bring it back with this. Oh, and also there's like a scene at the end where the Nick Fury and Maria Hill that we've been following throughout the movie are actually Skrulls, and that the real Nick Fury's up in space with the other Skrulls, but, you know, whatever. Aside from that, the big issue is Peter Parker's identity getting revealed. I'm pretty sure this is just set up for the next film, and that it's going to be where Peter's going to have to spend the film, you know, trying to prove his innocence and also try to find a way to keep his identity actually secret and make it secret again, and try to discredit Mysterio. That's what I'm pretty sure it's going to be. It's that he's going to end up having to try to discredit Mysterio so that everybody's like, oh, he's obviously lying about Peter Parker being Spider-Man. And so I theorize maybe this is them going to do the bit in the comic where Peter sort of takes on alternate superhero personalities. So that could be an interesting development, but at the same time it's just the fact that they end the film that way, it just fills me with so much anxiety, and now I have to go see the next one. So, yeah. It's a big ending. Yes, anyways, the film overall I think was very good, a bit of a step up from Homecoming, but still did have some very noticeable flaws, i.e. the whole big Mysterio thing, and just I'm still very interested to see where this Spider-Man's gonna go, especially after the ending. I'm trying to figure out how he's gonna come back from that, but we'll get there when we get there. Yeah, overall, it was a good film. I liked it. I highly recommend it. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, you can feel free to leave a like, leave a comment, giving a suggestion of something I should take a look at, be it a movie, a game, any sort of medium. I'm open to suggestions. Just leave it down in the comments below, or just give me some feedback on how you feel about this whole Manic Movies thing. But yeah. Or you can subscribe, just see what random content I like to upload. Just, random stupid stuff. Some of it will be these movie reviews, some will be gaming streams, some will be just really stupid stuff. I don't know. But anyways, with all that being said, stay sane in the insane world. Now see you little loonies. Later. Okay, time to get this review edited so we can put a cap on another great Spider-Man movie. Oh. Hello. Who are you? And, what are you doing in my review?
Hi, I represent the angry quadrant of Spider-Man fans, wondering why you seem to give so much love and admiration to Tom Holland's performance as Spider-Man, while completely ignoring every other interpretation of the character.
What are you talking about exactly? You mean like Tobey Maguire and the whiny, angsty Andrew Garfield? That's the movies you're talking about? What's so great about those films?
Ah, the same repetitive, inane criticisms that sadly still perpetuate about the internet. Seems to me like you ought to take another look at the guys who helped Spider-Man and comic films in general get to this point.
So, what are we gonna do about that?
I think you know exactly what I mean.